Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here. We are talking with Ari Rabenhoft. He is the Senior Advisor to Media Matters. He's the host of The Agenda on Sirius XM Satellite Radio. Ari, this is the time of year when a lot of folks become introspective, and they like to sort of take account of the past year and maybe apologize for things that have gone wrong and to sort of count their blessings for things that are going right. I want to ask you about something remarkable involving the world of apologies. This was Congressman Hank Johnson. He's a Democrat from Georgia. He took to the House floor recently because he had used a certain word that you're not supposed to use in describing a certain class of people. And here's how his apology played out. Listen.
I have found that the use of the the use of the M word is no longer socially acceptable. Now, the M word refers to a group of people, the little people. But when we say little people, I'm not talking about the Leona Helmsley little people.
Ari Rabenhoft, are we allowed to describe people as little people? Doesn't that fall into the same category?
I have no idea what the politically correct terminology is for people who are short in stature. And by short in stature, I was going to try to make a joke there, but just fell all over myself. I don't know. I mean, it's he seems very contrite, which I think is the main issue. I think, look, public figures, media figures should attempt to not offend classes of people overall and should try their best. I think when you do, if you can contritely apologize, which as awkward, that seemed awkward, but it seemed contrite. And by the way, that's the difference between, for example, Ed Schultz and Rush Limbaugh. When Ed Schultz went after Laura Ingraham and called her a slut, he gave a very heartfelt on-air apology and then suspended himself from broadcasting his television show when he said the remarks on his radio show. That's the difference between and Rush Limbaugh, who gave a half-hearted apology and that statement and kind of just let it fly.
Well, and speaking of apologies and accountability, I mean, the big one, I think in the media landscape, the cable news landscape this year involved the coverage of the decision of the Supreme Court on the Affordable Care Act. We were broadcasting live and got it right. CNN and Fox, they got it wrong. CNN went on for some 15 minutes with the wrong information that they put on the air.
Well, that's clearly because you know how to read.
Well, and the fact of the matter is CNN, they apologize for misreading or for however they got it wrong.
Everyone out there who's illiterate.
Yeah, and and CNN, they apologized. They took responsibility. They said that they were going to try to fix this. Fox News didn't apologize in the least. They said, well, we reported the information that we had, and it just was incomplete.
Well, I mean, this is a station that has barely apologized for anything. They have occasionally apologized. So they apologized for terrorist fist jab, I recall, but has never taken a step and apologized. And I think that's the thing. I think people will make mistakes, right? And broadcasters will make mistakes, right?
Sure.
They're just doing too much content overall. The question is, after you make that mistake, do you see the mistake? Do you try to correct the mistake? And do you apologize for the mistake? I mean, that's the thing. We're all human. We all err, right? What do you do from there is the question.
Well, and I'm sort of wondering, because look, you and I, we've been there. I've certainly made my share of mistakes, and a lot of people will remember the one about Chelsea Clinton and Hillary Clinton when I thought I was saying something that people
you
would
were
understand.
Almost misinformed of the year once.
Yeah, I almost was, and I got I was appropriately sanctioned by a lot of folks, and realized that you have to sort of be careful that you can't just think about whether language is offensive to you. You have to think about, well, wait a second, am I being as clear and as neutral in describing the language as other people might receive it? And learning that lesson, perhaps the hard way, I apologize. But I'm wondering, Ari, with the fact that there's Fox News out there and others that won't apologize, what is that doing in terms of our culture of accountability? Do we now have this whole sort of class of media consumers, particularly people on the right, who feel like you don't have to be accountable. You don't have to apologize, that it's more important to be strong in your beliefs, because apologies, well, that's somehow for wussies, that's somehow a weakness.
Look, I think it all adds up to what you want to be, and I think there's things have gone so far that they are bound to turn around. I think we are bound to see a backlash against what has happened in the media over the past several years. And it's only a matter of time before it's only a matter of time until there is a corrective moment. And I feel like the Rush Limbaugh moment this year was part of that corrective moment, and there will be more of these corrective moments in the future, and ultimately it'll hopefully make our media better.
All right, tell us about the agenda on Sirius XM. You've been doing it now for what, about 6 months or so?
Like 5 months, 4 months, somewhere in there.
And then tell us about the program.
9 o'clock.
What have you learned?
Monday through Friday on Sirius. We just wound up for the year, but we'll be doing a best of countdown New Year's Eve. Some of our best moments, our best interviews, from Grover Norquist, from an interview with Grover Norquist to an interview where Harry Reid calls Grover Norquist an anarchist. We'll be counting down all those moments, which we try on the show to bring discourse and civility to politics and inject it with actual knowledge, kind of what you do here on Take Action News.
Well, Ari, I know you were a broadcaster at a point in college, and then with Media Matters, and now sort of back into the broadcast world most of the time. In terms of the insights, has it given you some insights into the world at which you were sort of studying for many years with Media Matters and keeping track of?
I think the insights are that broadcasting is work, and that doing radio is. This is my biggest insight. Doing radio is a lot like playing the drums, David. And what I mean by that is everybody sees the set sitting in a corner of a room and thinks they can go pick up some sticks and make some music. But in fact, without a lot of preparation and training and thought, it just sounds like a bunch of crap if you don't do it right.
Well, Ari, your show is never crap, and in honor of your show and this analogy, I'm going to there we go. There's my rim shot for you, Ari. Ari Rabenhoff, it is always a pleasure talking to you, and great program, The Agenda on XM Sirius Satellite Radio. Great work at Media Matters. Ari, thanks so much for being part of Take Action News. Have a great holiday, my friend.
And I will speak to you soon. Thank you very much, David. Have a great holiday.
Ari Rabenhoff with Media Matters and The Agenda on XM Sirius Satellite Radio. And Daniel Marins, I'd never thought about that idea of this being like playing the drums.
Yeah, well, I mean, David, I'm just glad that I can now say that I play an instrument, because I'm not really capable of it otherwise. But, it's totally true. Obviously, you always say to me, ice time, putting me out there on the ice. That must be some kind of a hockey metaphor. I don't know what Indiana kind of sports thing you've got going on there. But it's a little bit harder than it looks. That's for sure. And that's been really extraordinarily a privilege for me, and to be working with you and learning how to sort of speak on the air, develop that sense of confidence, and understand really what people want to be listening to.
Well, you guys are both doing a great job. So I can say Daniel Marins on the trumpet, Mitch Belaski lead saxophone, Mr. Shuster singing vocals or orchestra conductor or whatever, and a lot of backup help as well. We have our program is going to continue. We got a great programming note, so stick around for the top of the hour. An amazing program coming up. We're going to tell you about it at the top of the next hour, and then of course Dr. Ginger Pole social media is going to talk about Anonymous and the war on the Westboro Baptist Church. You got to stick around for this one. Take Action News continues on We Act Radio and all of our syndicated stations and live broadcasting, of course. Our program continues after this.